one of the reasons that I work here is because I understand that living in this community, living in Silicon Valley, where there's such a disparity between rich and poor, it's kind of ridiculous how much of a difference there is there. And I feel like to be a true community, we really need to be able to recognize those differences and then work towards alleviating them.
The Silicon Valley, home to more than 2.5 million people, has been recognized as one of the fastest growing technology-based communities. It is also seen as one of the richest areas in the United States. The Silicon Valley has given birth to such companies as Google, eBay, HP, Apple. The list goes on and on. Everywhere you look, you can find evidence of the wealth and prosperity of the valley. Shopping centers, hotels, museums, offices. Life is good in the valley. But is everything as good as it seems? In San Jose alone, there are around 4,900 men, women, and children who are without a home. In Santa Clara County, there are more than 20,000 people who face homelessness each year. Still, many more lack the bare necessities, such as food and clothing. For a fortunate few, there's a place where help can be sought. Throughout the valley, there are organizations combating the homelessness crisis, including Loaves and Fishes, Second Harvest Food Bank, and Martha's Kitchen. Also among them is Sacred Heart Community Services. The only way for someone to truly grasp the situation would be to travel to Sacred Heart and see for themselves.
The real goal of Sacred Heart isn't just to give people clothes and food, that's important, but the idea is to get them from a point of poverty to self-sufficiency so that they don't need our services anymore. Our goal, essentially, is to put ourselves out of business. We want everyone to have enough resources so that they can take care of themselves.
Sacred Heart is one of the few locations in San Jose where the hungry can be fed, the cold can be clothed, and the stranger can find a friendly face. They live by the motto, feed the hungry, clothe the needy, and welcome the stranger. It is by this motto that the volunteers and staff devote long hours of service.
Our mission is to further people towards self-sufficiency, like Job Link program, education programs, family mentoring programs. All of that's going to enable someone to be self-sufficient, but those things are not attainable if you don't have some semblance of, food, clothing, and shelter. Those things are necessary in order for someone to be able to go out and maybe take the education classes that we offer here. You can't learn if you're hungry. You can't try to be self-sufficient if you can't even feed and clothe those in your family.
One of the most essential services provided at Sacred Heart is the food program. It is through this program that people are able to get the necessary food on a daily basis.
The way that it works is we serve about 200 to 300 families every day, and they come in and they get a variety of different types of foods that range from non-perishable goods that go into the pantry to perishable goods that would go into the fridge, and then they get a certain amount of produce. And then that's kind of the staple of what we're able to give. And then beyond that, through what we call our community gleaners, which are volunteers that go out into the community to the different stores, we're able to get a bunch of extra food that we're able to then give out as extras.
We have a mission in the pantry, and it's to serve all individuals with the best quality goods available and inspiring volunteers to love, serve, and share.
Many men and women would find it hard to survive without the food they receive from Sacred Heart.
It helps me survive. I live out on the river, and it feeds me daily, and it's pretty good sources.
This is Brian and his wife Chris. They've recently discovered the services provided by Sacred Heart. This is their story.
When I was 4 years old, I was overdosed on phenobarbital to the point where I couldn't walk, and then did damage to my kidneys and all that, and made me really hyper. I haven't been able to sit in a classroom since I was like in 5th grade.
He has ADHD.
Yeah, so I'm annoying, so it's kind of hard to keep jobs and stuff like that. But when I came home when I was 15 years old, my key didn't fit in the door. And until I found out about places, yeah, my mom moved without even telling me. But until I found out about places like this, I mean, it could have helped me a lot longer. Yeah, I just roamed the streets like.
Sacred Heart is very accommodating to their customers' needs.
And that's what's great about this place. Like, I don't have to be here on a Tuesday or, you know what I mean? I can come in when I'm hungry and I find a ride here, you know what I mean? They're great. They realize about how homeless people, if they could follow a program, then they probably wouldn't be homeless, you know what I mean? And this place works with them. I mean, the people are so nice. It's not like any other place I've ever been.
First and foremost, making sure that our customers get the highest quality goods. So out of all the donations we get, that means we're going to be sorting through those donations and making sure that it's a high enough quality so that we're serving our customers with dignity and respect.
Without the volunteers working in the pantry, the food services at Sacred Heart would cease to exist. Their tasks may seem simple, but their role at Sacred Heart plays a big part in distributing food to all the customers in need.
We do a lot of sorting of food, putting foods into bags, getting them ready to take, sorting them over to the desserts and sorting the breads out so that people can get to them easier and quicker.
Like we're basically just getting things ready for them to give away to the people who come here. So.
We've got over 2 million pounds of food coming through the food pantry via donation or from Second Harvest Food Bank every year. That's a lot of food. So volunteers are going to be doing anything from sorting food that comes in to make sure it's the highest quality. They're going to be bagging produce because everything that comes in, for the most part, it comes in bulk. So instead of getting like a little bag of potatoes, we're getting 50-pound sacks of potatoes. So people are going to be bagging up that because we obviously can't give 50 pounds of potatoes to one individual.
Donations are essential to the success of the food pantry program.
The way that the donations work is we get 80% of our food donated from Second Harvest Food Bank. That includes dry goods and produce, and then some of our meat products. And then the other 20% comes from volunteers and, like I mentioned, our gleaners and stores in the community. So we have volunteers that go out every single day to those stores and collect what they can that day and bring it in.
With the many programs found at Sacred Heart, the overall goal is to help those in need become self-sufficient.
People need to help more. They really do. They can't just turn their nose to it. They haven't ever had a period in their life where there's no one to turn to, and they don't understand what it's like.
Hunger is a major problem in the Silicon Valley that has gone unrecognized by many members of our community. We often forget that there are thousands of hungry men and women that are barely able to get by. In the comfort of our own homes, we sometimes take for granted what we have. But there is still hope. With the services provided by Sacred Heart, the contributions made by donors, and the time volunteers put in, we are one step closer to feeding the forgotten.